This is the Pine Barrens, 1.1 million acres of pristine, mostly untouched wilderness in New Jersey. It takes up 22% of the landmass in the state of New Jersey. In 1978, Congress made the Pinelands into a national reserve. And in 1988, the Pinelands was designated as an international biosphere reserve.
It's bigger than Yosemite and the Grand Canyon National Parks. Early settlers found the sandy and acidic soil unsuitable for farming, so the area remained largely untouched.
Tea-colored streams stained from cedar trees meander through this wilderness. Colonies from long ago and remnants of ghost towns occasionally mar the landscape.
Animals that live here include bald eagles, red-tailed hawks, peregrine falcons, screech owls, white-tailed deer, black bear, flying squirrels, and almost all species of amphibian and reptile, as well as many species of freshwater fish.
It's also the land of legends and rumors. Not too far from here, at Leeds Point, is the birthplace of the legendary New Jersey Devil, born in the 1700s and rumored to be terrorizing these parts to this day. And the other rumors are the number of bodies that the mob supposedly disposed of here in the Pine Barrens, in this massive wilderness. The Sopranos even did an episode on that. In the 37th episode, when Paulie and Christopher, disposing of a body, got lost in the Pine Barrens and had to call Tony to come rescue him. So here we are camping in the New Jersey Pine Barrens. My first time camping here. And this is New Jersey's way of boondocking. It's very primitive, no hookups or anything. And it's the home of the Jersey Devil. Picture of what he supposedly looks like. And this is like not a creature that anyone's ever seen that has existed. So I think it's really weird that different people describe it the same way. I've never camped out here. Rick, you've camped out here, what, about 6 times?
6 or more, yeah.
Yep, with your scout troops?
Primarily with the scout troop, yeah, but I've family camped out here as well.
Yep. Never an issue?
Nope, never an issue.
No, I do read some things or look on YouTube and hear some stories, but I don't know if they're just made up or whatever. So I'll tell you one thing, it's very peaceful and quiet out here. Although this is my first time camping in the middle of the Pine Barrens, primitive camping, not at a campground. I've been through the Pine Barrens a lot. I've taken canoe trips down in those streams down there. And I have to say that the Pine Barrens does have just an eerie feel to it. It's quiet. There's this just eeriness to it. I'm not the only person that says that. Of course, I grew up in New Jersey, hearing stories from when I was a little kid. My dad used to take us to the Pine Barrens and talk about the Jersey Devil all the time. So I grew up with these stories. So I don't know, maybe it's in my head that when I get out there, I just feel this vibe, like somebody's watching over my shoulder or something. I know when we camped there, it was beautiful. It was very, very quiet. I mean, I came out in the middle of the night to use the restroom. They do have a pit latrine that's a little further down. So I had my bucket in my little tent. But I came out in the middle of the night, and I tell you, I was afraid in the middle of the night. It was just so dark. The sky was lit up with stars. It was just so dark and quiet and just eerie. And I remember thinking, well, what am I afraid of? And the weird thing was, and I've camped many places before, but so this wasn't the fear of, I don't know, a bear or a wild animal. This was the fear of something supernatural. So I know that the New Jersey Devil was playing on my head, and I haven't had that other places. It would be interesting to hear if someone camped in the Pine Barrens that never knew of that story felt that same eeriness and vibe.
As remote as we seem to be in the Pine Barrens, one of the ever-present factors is that there's usually some noise from aircraft from the various military bases around. The one closest to us right now is probably Warren Grove, And Warren Grove is known for being a training area for the A-10 warthogs that have the Gatling gun, machine gun mounted in the nose. It's been described as a gun with a plane belt around it. It's very unique in its sound when it's firing, and the plane itself is kind of unique in its construction. It's heavily armored. It's a one person, one pilot fuselage, very narrow and very, very maneuverable plane. But they practice doing tight circles where they bring the plane up on its side and then fly in tight circles to get the pilots accustomed to the G-force that they're going to encounter in combat situations.
So you will hear some aircraft, and I remember one time years ago when I was canoeing down the streams there, and I thought we were being bombed. I mean, whatever this aircraft was, it was military, of course, and it was screaming, one of them real loud ones that comes screaming over you. So you will hear that occasionally in the Pine Barrens. Between that and our generator running, that's most of the background noises that you would hear. This aircraft is pretty fascinating, so I'm actually going to put a link to a YouTube video up here showing some of these A-10 warthogs in action. So I'll put it up here in the corner if you want to check it out after you're watching this.
Sharon, putting out bait for the Jersey Devil. We have a trail cam set up. I'm going to try and photograph anything that comes around our campsite tonight.
So we put out the trail cameras yesterday evening, and the one camera, I hadn't used these things in such a long time, I didn't remember the field of view on them, and I, like an idiot, didn't take the time to review it or test them. So I set the one camera up and must have had it too high off the ground. The bait was all gone, but it never took a picture, although it had taken pictures of Sharon and I walking in front of it when we were setting it up. They were, to not have a single image, and yet both bait piles were totally gone.
I remember seeing this monument. My dad took me here when I was a kid. This is the crash monument of Emilio Carranza. Emilio was known as the Lindbergh of Mexico in 1928. He was a hotshot aviator, yet I believe the weather was bad and he crashed his plane into the Pine Barrens, and there is a monument there for him. This trip allowed us to take the time to do more video of our kitchen area. We wanted to film different ways that we can cook.
Last year we went camping in a state park over in Pennsylvania, and across from us was a guy that had one of these off-grid, off-road trailers, and it had an interesting canopy set up that attached to his trailer and created like an outside room. And in talking with him, he mentioned that he could set up out there and do his cooking and have lights and even put heat in it. I thought that was pretty interesting. So we purchased a freestanding pop-up canopy last fall, and I got a side panel for it that had pockets in it, which was nice, but it didn't come all the way down to the ground. And we thought that for possibly doing a long-term trip, we might want something with a little more privacy. So we bought a wall kit for it, which worked out really well. It changes the room to more of a tent, and I guess we could put a tarp down or a mat to have a floor in there if we wanted to, and you could actually sleep in it and use it like you would a tent. And I thought this was fantastic because it just gives us a lot of versatility, the ability to be comfortable even and add space to our existing setup, because the trailer is a little too cramped to just hang out all day long inside if the weather's not conducive.
Probably the worst thing about this trip was we did encounter a lot of ticks, but we did go off the beaten path a little and troops in the woods, which in hindsight I don't know that I would have done. But we had lots of ticks on us. So the good thing was, because of setting up the tent, we could go out there, disrobe, in the tent instead of doing it in the camper and do our tick checks out there. So that tent worked out perfect for that. Then we also got the opportunity for the first time to use our shower. Keep in mind, when we camp, there's usually a bathhouse. We have an outdoor shower. It worked great. We had, I guess, a 5-gallon thing of water hooked up to it, and I think we only used 4 gallons between the two of us. We just took some quick showers. Normally we can put a shower curtain up, but we were in the middle of nowhere. The other tent was backed up right there. Nobody could see where we were at, so that's why we didn't have the shower curtain. But normally if we were somewhere where there was people around, we would have put up the pole and the shower curtain. Hot water heater and a shower worked phenomenal. It was really, really better than I expected. Look in the description and I'll put a link for that instant propane water heater. And there's nothing like being in the middle of nowhere and locking your keys in the van.
Well, after getting our showers and getting our sleepwear on, I loaded all our clothing into the car or into the van and locked the door. And about 30 seconds later, I remembered that my car keys were still in my pants and I didn't have a spare set outside anywhere. I did have a spare set in the van, so I had to somehow manage to get back in there. And as it was dark, so Sharon suggested I just wait until daylight, which I did. But then I spent half of the night trying to recall what tools I had with me in the trailer that were accessible so that I could get into the van in the morning. And finally I came up with a couple ideas and tried the first one and it worked.
So what, you gotta name it.
I would call it my favorite hooker.
OMG. All right. Rick, my favorite hooker. Are we going to be marketing these or what?
Well, if we put a little furry handle on it, yeah, we probably could.
All right, now we got a wiggly tailpipe. It's always something.
We also had a clamp brake on the tailpipe, and luckily I had a dryer clamp in the toolbox that was on the van. So when we heard this thing ringing like a bell as we were driving down these sand roads, I stopped to see what the problem was. Saw the pipe was sliding around or swinging around, and I was afraid that it would eventually cause more damage by snapping off someplace. So we stopped and went ahead and dealt with it.
One of my favorite things about not so much camping, but having a YouTube channel is it makes me go outside of my comfort zone, because sometimes I can be kind of introverted and quiet. I know, believe it or not. So Rick met this guy, Chuck, with a retro camper. Great story. He's got it's actually not a retro camper, it's a vintage camper from 1959. So we toured his camper. I'll put a link up here if you want to check out this video of this vintage 1959 Layton tour. We were talking about YouTube and, you know, all the channels. He actually knows Bob Wells and showed me a picture of Bob and stuff. He's been all over. Fascinating guy. So that's my favorite part about having a YouTube channel is I would just see their camper and I'd be like, oh, hey, hi, and just go my way. But this, like I said, it makes me go out and talk to people, and the people are the best part of this. It's you guys and your stories, and that's why we love our YouTube channel. A lot of people come out here and use this wilderness. Some people use it and some people abuse it. It's ridiculous. It looks like someone just backed their truck up here and dumped all this garbage. Don't be one of these idiots. I'll be sicking the Jersey Devil on your butt. 1.1 million acres of vast wilderness. Like I said, the Pine Barrens just so rich in history and stories. So do me a favor, if you want to hear more of these stories, just write devil in the comments. Just to be honest with you, we didn't even scratch the surface. We would have to take all these topics separately in the Pine Barrens. So check back. The next video I'm working on is from a ghost village called Friendship Village. That's a wrap, everyone. You know what to do if you like this video.
You all come back now, you hear?